The Fjällräven Kajka is an expedition-grade backpack. The Kajka excels in comfort and is packed with smart features. In this video, we'll go over all of the features and I'll even show you some hidden features that even the long-term owners probably didn't know about. Let's start with the weight of this backpack because this is the ultralight hiker's nightmare. The backpack weighs 3.4 kilograms and on top of that there's a rain cover weighing 150 grams. That is over 7 pounds. And this is crazy heavy. When this backpack was first recommended to me by a salesperson, I thought they were crazy, and yet here we are. This backpack is available in different versions. This is the 75-liter version. There's a 65, 75, 85 and 100-liter version. There are also women's specific versions, and the difference you will find in the shape of the straps. There's also even a version for children, which is quite cute. So this backpack focuses on a couple of things. One would be comfort, second I would say is durability, and third would be clever features. Let's start with comfort. To make this backpack comfortable, Fjällräven have done a couple of things. First is add a lot of padding, and second is add a lot of options for adjustability. Looking at the padding, this is a huge thick foam pad that will rest on your upper back. This part is for your lower back, and there's this huge hip belt as well. Shoulder straps have thick and wide padding. So to start with this part on your back, it is adjustable in height. What you do is you just open this up. There's a strap that you can just move up and down, and with that you'll be able to adjust the height to fit your back perfectly. One thing that is very unique about this backpack is that the shoulder straps are adjustable in width. So if you have broad shoulders, on most backpacks you might find that the straps are mostly in your neck. This might be a great backpack for you. Here you can widen the distance between the shoulder straps. The standard thing to adjust is of course this is the length of your shoulder straps, and this will determine how high the backpack sits on your back as well. This part are the so-called load lifters. These allow you to pull your backpack forward just a little bit, and for the perfect fit you can adjust this bit here to manipulate the angle. Ideally you would want to have this at 45 degrees, so you can do that by adjusting this loop here. Something you also don't see very often is the ability to adjust how the hip belt is attached to the backpack. You have two straps to make those adjustments. To tighten the hip belt, they have done it the right way. You can see the strap is adjusted in 2 points, so it's extra wide to spread the weight, and you pull it inwards. So you pull it like this, not like this, which is, I think, the correct way to do this. One more thing for adjustability is the sternum strap is also adjustable in height to determine how high it should be on your chest. So that's it in terms of adjustability for comfort. If you're trying on this backpack, try to take your time to find the proper adjustment. It took me quite a bit of time to find the right height for my torso, as well as finding the right angle for the load lifters. So a minor tweak can make all the difference. I found this backpack to be extremely comfortable, but with that being said, this might not be for everyone. We all have different body types, body shapes, so it's really important just to try it and to try adjusting it in different ways to see if you can make this a comfortable fit. It also doesn't mean that this is only made for big people with broad shoulders. I've seen plenty of women use this backpack as well. I've seen a lot of these backpacks on the Kungsleden, so it definitely is for a broad range of people. So now let's have a look at all of the features. Let's start with the top. There's a top lid which is removable. It's attached using 4 clips on both sides, 2 on each side, front and back, and then you can remove it. You can use the backpack like this without the top lid. Let's have a look at the top lid though. So even this is packed with features. It has 2 pockets, one on top and then a second one right here, and it is actually quite big and quite roomy. So the top zip is supposed to be more of a rainproof zip, and the second one has a cover like a storm flap, although mine is folded and it doesn't want to fold over the zip anymore, it seems. There's a elastic cord that you can use to put maybe a jacket or something like this. It's adjustable as well. Plenty of room in here. If we flip it over, there is one more zipper on the inside. This is where I stored my first aid kit, and underneath there are two straps. The idea is that you could use this as sort of a day pack. If you are leaving your backpack behind and you still want to bring this, you can use it either over your shoulder or as a fanny pack. Now with that, you can connect the clips. They stay nicely together. So the straps that the top lid is attached to are adjustable as well. That means you can move it up quite high if you want to carry something in between. The adjustments can be done on the other side as well. So there is quite a bit, some space if you want to put something in between, or if you're looking to extend your backpack like this. Now, one of the smart features that you'll find is that this is a female and this is a male connector. So you can connect them as well if you don't want to use that lid. So this you could use to attach something to the backpack as well. While we're here, let's have a look at this. This is what they call a snow lock. You have two cinch cords. This is one and this is the second one. This operates the lower cord and this one operates the top one. Something that I've actually only recently noticed is that the opening for the cinch cord is slightly off center, so that might trigger your OCD, just saying. So here there is a buckle for another strap that you can also use to fasten something here, or you can just use it to make your backpack a bit smaller, to compress it. On the sides, the pack also has compression straps, and they're not only meant as compression straps. Of course, you can use them to compress the volume of the backpack. However, they are also made for carrying stuff. So they're quite long and you can attach whatever it is that you need to attach to the side of the pack. For example, if you have a cell phone pad that you would like to attach to the side, there's plenty of room in the strap, maybe even for two. Personally, I don't like to have it on the side because I'm always rubbing against it with my elbow. So on my recent trip, I had it in the front. And this is where the genius of the designers of this backpack really shows, is if you want to attach it here. We have these straps and there's one more here, and these are male connectors. On the other side, you'll find a female connector, which is brilliant because then you can do this. Voila. This is actually how I carried my phone pad on my recent trip. In retrospect, this wasn't the best way for me to carry it, because if I wanted to get into the backpack using those zippers, it was quite difficult. I needed to remove this before I could really get into a backpack. It's all different when everything is full. So while we're on the side, let's have a look at the pockets. There are two pockets on each side. One is a big mesh pocket that you can use for pretty much anything. It is meant also as a storage for your water bottle, and it has a clever feature, and that is this clip here. If you undo it, then it is possible to store your water bottle like this. So in theory, this is a nice idea. I actually don't use it like this because a water bottle that's not entirely full would be doing this the whole time while walking. So then I prefer to store it like this. However, I do need to cinch it down pretty well, which still doesn't make it very accessible during the hike, but I found that if it's sticking out too much, it will just easily fall out if I lean over or something like that. Next, there are huge side pockets. You can store a lot of things in here. What I try to do is to keep them empty while I'm packing, and then I will just use them for random things during the hike. I might store a puffy jacket in here or some rain gear, maybe even some snacks that I want to take out during the day, so I don't have to get in the main compartment. The zipper for it is on the other side of the rest of the backpack, and there are some different opinions on if this is a good thing or a bad thing. Personally, I think this is a good thing. Imagine having a rain cover on top of the backpack. This still allows you to get into your backpack and to grab some stuff without removing the rain cover. So like I mentioned earlier, I like to keep them empty while packing initially, and then I'll just use them for whatever I need during the hike. So now let's have a look at this side of the backpack. These attachment points are for trekking poles or an ice axe or a wooden axe, whatever it is that you want to store in here. These loops are multi-purpose and adjustable, and here you can use this to secure your trekking poles or whatever it is that you're attaching to it. In here there is a metal rod that is used to give shape to the backpack, and also when you're using those two straps to compress the backpack, with that you're not only compressing on those 2 points, but because you're pulling on this metal rod, you can actually compress the whole backpack with that. The secret feature is related to this. We'll come back to that later. So looking at the bottom, there are 2 attachment points here as well. These are just for some random straps. Those straps you need to get yourselves. They do not come with the backpack. There are different ways to get into the main compartment, and this is one of them. This is the bottom opening, which you would typically use to store your sleeping gear. The zipper that is on here is the one thing that I really find annoying about this backpack. It's not the zipper itself, but because of the shape of the backpack, and especially when it's like really full, it is quite hard to unzip this. That's why you probably see people doing this. So this is quite a unique one actually. You can see there's a divider in here, so you can separate the sleeping bag compartment from the main compartment. There's also a zip that you can use to unzip it, and with that to have access to the whole thing. There is also a mesh panel that you can use instead of this fabric panel. What you would do is you would clip these clips together, and with that you would roll away the bottom panel. So the idea is that if you have any wet clothes or your sleeping bag is wet, something like that, this gives you an option to dry it here. I tried it once, it didn't really work, but it was also very cold, so nothing would have dried anyway. This is one of these features that I wish was removable. If they were to add like 10 centimeters more of the zipper, you could have easily removed this if you don't want to use it. So now onto the main compartment. We already know you can get into here from the bottom, you can get into the main compartment from the top. But this next feature is what makes this backpack very comfortable and easy to pack. You have 2 zips, Velcro, and then you can just open it up and have access to your whole backpack. In the main compartment, this is a pocket for a water bladder, and there's an opening in here as well for your drinking system to be able to access it in the front. And actually I believe there's an attachment that I removed for your drinking system. Normally it comes with it. I think I removed it because I'm not using it. So now that we're here, we might as well talk about the secret feature. These metal rods that hold the frame together or hold the front of the backpack together, they are removable. They're not easily removable, but you can remove them. And then let's have a look at the frame. So the frame of the backpack is made out of wood. This is birch wood, and Fjällräven is doing that to be more environmental friendly. The frame, in case it's damaged, you can remove it. And I've heard about an accident that happened with the backpack that fell onto big rocks and actually broke the frame. This is how it looks like. So now onto the secret feature. I can't take full credit for this one. So thanks to Merk from Fjällräven Brand Center for showing me this secret feature. With the metal rod removed, you can actually use it to replace a broken frame temporarily, so that you can at least finish your trek, finish your hike. They have made a special sleeve in 2 places where you can put it as a temporary replacement. When putting it back, also remember to include this bit. So this is just attached with some Velcro, very easy to remove, very easy to replace. So let's talk about the materials. This material is incredibly thick and durable. It is 600 denier. Yes, 600. If you can imagine that a lightweight tent is 15 denier. If you look at Hilleberg Black Label, the ground sheet is very thick, and that is 100 denier. This is 6 times more. So the material is very strong, and I have used this backpack for a while now, and it still almost looks brand new. That's because I've always been using some protection. I went to the Fjällräven Brand Center where I had a look at a similar backpack that has been rented out to people, and of course they didn't care for the backpack that much. The approximation is that it has been out on trips for over 20 weeks. So 20 weeks of abuse basically, and this is how the backpack looks like. It's just a little bit dirty, and because of the blue color you can see everything a bit better, and I think there's only one minor tear on it. So this backpack will last a lifetime probably, but in terms of the materials, yes, they are very strong, but I think Fjällräven has nicer materials that I wish they utilized on backpacks like this as well, like the birch shell material. I think it's nicer, it's quite a bit lighter as well, so it would be nice to have this level of comforts and functionality combined with some lightweight material. The materials are also highly water resistant, but they are not waterproof. So that's why the backpack also comes with a rain cover. This is the rain cover regardless of which color you choose of the backpack. And there's an array of colors. Well, actually it's like 4 these days. All the rain covers are blue, which is not my favorite, but there are no options anymore. I have seen some old Fjällräven rain covers that were black, but they don't offer these anymore. The next best thing is a flight bag, which covers the whole bag, and it is made out of thicker material, and with that it is also heavier. This is 400 grams. Whereas the rain cover is 150 grams. So just a few more features that I haven't mentioned earlier. The top lid can also be used as a chest pod like this. If for some reason you want to have access to your snacks or your camera gear or whatever you want, you can attach it to the front. One thing I wish Fjällräven did is sell some sort of a pocket like this additionally, so that you can add it to your backpack instead of needing to remove it from the top. So there's also a sternum strap, which includes an elastic band, which is great for comfort, and this really does help to keep those shoulder straps in place. There's also an emergency whistle, and the hip belt also has 2 pockets, 2 hip belt pockets, One is mesh and the other one is fabric. I wish those hip belt pockets were bigger, because especially if you wrap the hip belt around your hips, which curves the hip belt, and with that curves the pockets, there isn't that much space in them. And this is something that I mentioned earlier, looking at how you fasten the hip belts. There's a huge clip on here, and then you pull it inwards, and this movement is a lot easier than on some other backpacks where you need to pull it outwards, which is crazy. I don't know why they do it. So a few words about adjusting the backpack. Your backpack is adjusted properly if the shoulder strap sort of wraps around your shoulder and hugs it tightly. There shouldn't be too much space around it. Let me show you how it would look like if it's poorly adjusted. If it sort of hangs on your shoulders, that's not great. So when you are adjusting your backpack, do try and put some weight in it. It doesn't have to be 20 kilos, but if the backpack is empty, it will just sit differently. Next thing you would do is adjust those load lifters. There's a big pull here, and what you would want is for this to be at 45 degrees, and you can adjust it using this adjustment clip here. You'll really start to notice the difference if you have a lot of weight in your backpack, and when using this, make sure to put some weight in the backpack before you start adjusting it. And everything will be determined by how high or low the hip belt sits on your hips. So try to find the right fit, something that is comfortable for you. And while using the backpack, if you're hiking with it for many hours at a time, you will be adjusting it quite a lot. Sometimes you want to put some more weight on your hips, and then after a while you want to give them a break, and you'll carry more of the weight on your shoulders as well. And what I found myself doing with over 22 kilograms is I would try to offload both my shoulders and my weight, and I would just have the backpack like this and then pull it to the front, so it was really just resting on my back. And this was just to give myself a bit of a break. So while we're on that, in terms of load capacity, this backpack can handle more than you and I can probably. You can move house with this backpack, is what I'm saying. If you want to have 30, 40 kilograms in here, the backpack will handle it for longer than you and I will. I found that there is a threshold to any backpack, and it is also something that is very personal. For me, when using this backpack with 18 kilos, at a certain point I didn't even feel it on my back anymore. But then when I went to 20 and over 20 kilograms, that's where you really start to feel the weight of the backpack. That being said, it was still comfortable as it can be with 22 kilograms. That's just a lot of weight, and you'll feel that in any backpack. So in terms of comfort, like mentioned earlier, it is amazing. The only downside, I think, is really just the weight, and the fabric could be improved as well. Aside from that, a little innovation on the clips would help to reduce the weight as well, and then we would have the perfect backpack, I think. So what do you think of the Kajka? Are you a Kajka user? Are you planning on getting it yourself? Do let me know down below in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one.